Today's guest is Alice Westbury. Alice was the head of drama at a secondary school for 13 years before leaving to take care of her 3 daughters. Now, her plan was always to return to the classroom. However, after getting involved with some coaching workshops, she realised that this was something that she could really help school children with. So Alice now coaches adults and young people through her coaching company, which is called Clued Up Coaching. And she's here today to share how coaching tools can be used within the classroom. So I really hope you enjoy this conversation. Alice, welcome to the Teachers Podcast today.
Hi, thank you ever so much for having me here, Claire. I'm really looking forward to talking to you.
So it's going to be an exciting one because we're going to talk about coaching, but also you have a background in drama at secondary, which I absolutely love because a lot of the listeners will already know, but I used to be a secondary performing arts teacher, and I actually trained at Liverpool because it was the only one where you could learn to teach drama and dance at the same time, and I thought that would really kind of widen my options after doing a musical theatre degree. So I can completely see how you've gone on this journey, because I've gone on that journey myself, because really drama is, sometimes I used to think it's like being a child, just playing again and role playing, and getting to coaching in that point. So I'm really excited about this conversation. So obviously, regular listeners will already know how much of a fan I am of coaching anyway, but can you explain to our listeners why you feel coaching would be useful in the classroom?
Yes, well, coaching has so many transferable skills anyway, and obviously there are many teachers out there who are already using lots of coaching skills. But I really believe that if we can bring coaching as a culture into our classrooms, so that we're not just talking about coaching for staff, but we're talking about children coaching each other, having that coaching dialogue, then they are going to become more self-aware. They're going to become more emotionally intelligent. They're going to be able to grow up, being able to sort of gain more perspective for themselves. And I coach a lot of young people, more teenagers really, and often it's very evident that they just aren't aware of how to sort of connect with their emotions. So really this ability, if we can bring coaching into the classroom, if it can be part of everyday language and the everyday tools that we kind of come back to, then it really is going to benefit our young people. And I really do believe that coaching comes hand in hand with well-being. We talk so much about well-being at the moment, don't we? And I think, you know, if we are using the coaching tools, if young people are able to do that as well, then that will have a really positive effect on their well-being.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think to teach children at that age, one of the things that me and Ed talk about a lot, we've got a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, and they're going to be 4 and 6 soon. What can we give them that we know now that our parents didn't know? And I said it to Ed last night. I was like, right, I feel like the best present we could get them when they're 18 is like a coach. And, you know, probably coaches before that, but that whole piece around self-awareness, I feel like I've got to be an adult and then I've got to learn to be self-aware. And I'm not saying that the journey stops, but to have that already going into adulthood and to navigate being a teenager or being a child with some of this knowledge, I think is so powerful.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I was listening to another podcast with Dr. Rangan Chatterjee speaking, and part of that podcast he was actually saying we don't learn about how to be happy at school. No one teaches us about how to be happy. Well, he certainly felt that anyway. And he was also saying that too often our happiness is kind of mixed up with success. So really we sort of, if we can move away from that thinking, if we can encourage our children to be aware of what is going to make them happy, what connects with them, what's important to them, and the kind of person that they want to be, then, you know, that is going to support them throughout their lives.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I love this because I think it is really important. I think we could change a generation, absolutely change a generation. Um, okay, so why do you feel that now is the time then for teachers to be using coaching tools in the classroom?
Well, I think that we are still seeing and feeling the impact of the pandemic, absolutely. And I go into a lot of schools and do one-to-one coaching with teenagers. And a lot of teachers are saying now is the time, actually, that this mental health impact is apparent. From the lockdowns, but also I think with younger children, just there is now well-being is a buzzword, isn't it? It's something that we're encouraged to talk about. It's something that we're encouraged to think about. I'm also a governor of a primary school, and there is a lot of talk of well-being, well-being days, for example, staff well-being, all of that sort of thing. But really, I think that could itself be a danger of therefore fizzling out with time. And I think that really what we need to do now is to try and build this well-being continually into our curriculum from a young age, and just providing children with some coaching tools can help to do that. So I really feel like now is the time where coaching in lessons, I don't think we should be dumping more on teachers. I was a teacher, I know firsthand what it's like to have these new initiatives continuously being thrown at us. But I just feel that actually there are some small things that we can do day to day that will help the children develop that coaching dialogue and that self-awareness.
Yeah, and I think the more you do it, the more you have the ability to self coach as well. So I have two coaches at the moment, and because like one I see monthly, one I see weekly. So like it's very like full on. I'm sure you can imagine, but I move very fast, and I also move faster because I'm very practiced at this now, and so I coach myself in between that time as well. And I think you just need more and more experience so that you can start asking yourself questions and being more brave and saying, do I need to do that, or could it be different?
Absolutely, yes. Wouldn't it be brilliant if our children could coach themselves? If rather than going straight to the teacher when they feel they need support, when they need some help with something, wouldn't it be great if they could just ask themselves first and feel confident in doing that? And you know, coaching is such an empowering tool anyway, because it's all about the answer being within us. We already have the answers there. So if children can grow up believing that, then I think that will actually help teachers anyway, because they might not have quite so many demanding questions and demanding children all of the time. So yeah, I think it's a win situation for everybody.
Yeah. Ah, I completely agree. There's no argument from me. So why are you passionate about teachers learning coaching tools and then passing them on to their pupils?
Well, I think there is so much that that teachers can do. You know, such fantastic role models. As you said, I was a drama teacher I was head of drama for 11 years, and I absolutely loved that job, and it was such a difficult decision to leave. And you know, the main part of being a teacher for me was about being able to support and make a difference. And I just think that, you know, what we can do now is we can carry on with that. We can carry on bringing these tools into the classroom. So yeah, I think now is the time we can make a difference. And there are some simple things that we can do each day really in our classroom practice.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we talk about teaching children, but it's just as important for adults as well. You know, I work with lots and lots of ex-teachers, and we're going through lots of different journeys, and one of them is around coaching. You know, we've got three colleagues training to be coaches, and then there's going to be two more of us doing that because we appreciate how important it is, but also how coaching helps you not only manage your life but also sometimes recover. It's difficult to use that word, but sometimes you do need a bit of recovery, whether you're still in teaching or whether you've left the classroom. You need to be able to find some recovery from the overwhelm
Yes.
that has gone on, whether that's 1 year, whether that's 11 years.
Yes.
It's kind of in some ways there's probably at least one event that's been quite traumatic.
Yes, absolutely, yes. And we can be resilient and we can learn to move on, and that bringing that coaching in there as a way of reflecting and developing a growth mindset. I mean, I think that is one of the main things that coaching can do for somebody, and this reframing of our self-talk. If we can move forward knowing that we've done our best with something and that we can learn from that experience, we are able to grow, we are able to move forward. If we are stuck, if we have those negative thoughts running through our minds continuously, then it's very difficult really to have any sort of positive impact. So I think that teachers can do that in the classroom through their own practice, obviously. And I know that I will be preaching here to the converted with many of your listeners, Claire, because there will be some absolutely amazing teachers out there that are trying lots of different things as well. But yes, certainly, celebrating mistakes. Teachers, I've been and observed some great primary lessons where teachers have deliberately made mistakes and then, made a point of that so that children know that that's okay. But doing that and also, celebrating those mistakes, moving forward, what can you learn from this? What could have been different? What might it look like next time? So all those kind of questioning skills that teachers already have, using those in the classroom just to extend. And I think as well, reminding children that as humans, we all have our comfort and our stretch zone. So I think bringing that as a common term into the classroom, we know that actually we like to be in our comfort zone, but we grow and we learn the most when we're in our stretch zone. So celebrating that, oh yeah, you're in your stretch zone with this, aren't you? I can see that. But actually, this is a good place for you to be. It might not feel very comfortable, but you're going to grow here. You're going to learn. You can look back and see that you've moved on from this. So I think just some of those kind of basic coaching ideas can be brought in day to day.
Yeah, oh, I love this. So you're in the classroom and you're thinking, okay, I want to implement some of these things. What actions could teachers take?
Well, I think that a really great idea, first of all, and it's something I wish I'd known when I was teaching. I wish I'd known more about the brain and how our brain works. So I think if you can start off, and you don't need to be an amazing psychologist for this, but just start off by sharing with your class some basic information about how your brain processes thoughts and feelings. So we have a primitive brain, we have an emotional brain, we have a thinking brain. And you know what? The primitive brain or the reptilian brain, that's the first part of our brain, and that likes to get in the way sometimes. It likes to step in and take control. But actually, and what happens then is that can lead us to overreacting in situations. It can lead us to panicking. We need it. We certainly need that reptilian brain, and it's what's protected us as cavemen in the past, and being part of a tribe. So we need it. But sometimes it steps in the way. So if we can tell our classes that actually just be aware of that. Is your reptilian brain sort of taking over here? Can you ask more from your emotional brain? Can you look back to how you felt last time with this and maybe recall on some memories to help you with how you dealt with this before, if it's happened before? Go to your thinking brain. What do you know might help here? What can you do in this sort of situation? So I think, first of all, talking about the brain is really great to do with kids of all ages. And actually, I've found when I'm coaching older kids, they're really interested in this. And they just don't realise, oh, right, okay, yeah, I can see now how I reacted in that way and I didn't need to. So certainly that, first of all, reminding children that their brains are continually growing and changing. So, actually, isn't that great that we can change our brains? We can do things to support it and feeling more positive, encouraging it to be more positive, to react in a different way. So that certainly about the brain, I think, is a really good place to start, because from there you can encourage children to have more of a growth mindset. You can start to talk about what a growth mindset looks like, that idea of stepping into your stretch zone, and looking for the mistakes as opportunities to learn from. So I think certainly those things there. Also, the power of questioning. I've talked a little bit about that, but actually I think what's really interesting about coaching, where it's slightly different, I think, is that when we ask a question generally to find out more information, don't we? So certainly as teachers, we'd probably be trying to figure out whether they understand what we're talking about some of the time. If there's anything else I as a teacher need to relay to them, have they got that information? But where coaching is a little bit different to that is that coaching can spur the person who's talking. It can delve into their thoughts even more. It can ask more of them. So rather than it being about my understanding, if I ask a question as a coach, it actually becomes more about the client's understanding and stretching that further. So wouldn't it be great if our children could sort of be taught to do this as well? So they're not just asking a question to understand more about themselves, they're asking a question that's going to bring the other person on more with their learning, going to extend their learning. And this can work really well with peer feedback or peer coaching that they might do in their lessons. So a part of that is obviously going to be about listening. That's going to be a big part, which is obviously a big part of coaching. So teaching them some listening, really good listening skills. We often listen to respond when actually we should be aiming to listen to understand. So how can we encourage our children to do that? Well, I think certainly some listening exercises, perhaps where one child is going to do the talking and explaining about something, perhaps their level of understanding about something, and the other child is not going to ask any questions, they are just going to listen. And then at the end of that, they have a little think, and then they are allowed to ask one question to extend that person's thinking further. So this is the kind of thing that we as coaches do often, but I really do believe that actually in the classroom it's going to support children in finding their solutions for themselves. It's going to create more empathy because they are actually listening to each other. They are actually understanding then on a deeper level. They're not just listening to respond and to add in what they think. So the quality of that listening in classrooms can really support that coaching culture. The other thing that I wanted to talk about as well is this idea of our inner critic. We all have an inner critic, or the voice of doom, as we sometimes like to call it. The reason why we have this inner critic is because it stems back to our cavemen days. We needed to be part of a tribe to survive, and so we would constantly have been checking ourselves, making sure that we fitted in, making sure our behaviour was acceptable, making sure that other people liked us and we could stay in the tribe. So that inner critic is really useful to us. It's really helpful, but sometimes it can be our worst enemy, can't it? So if we can talk to our classes about our inner critics, and we can even share as teachers some of our own inner critic sayings, if we can do that, but encourage them to become have more of an inner coach, So this ties everything in, really. So bringing back to, actually, what is your inner critic telling you now? Is that reptilian brain stepping in too much here? Do you need to go to your thinking brain? What would your inner coach say now? What would your inner coach like to ask you about this now? What do you know could be different? What could you do next time to change this? How would you like to feel? So all of that, with the idea of this inner coach, I think if we can encourage inner coaches as part of classroom dialogue, as part of classroom culture, then children, that will become familiar to them. They'll be able to go back to that. They'll be able to think about, what did I do last time here? And raising their own self-awareness, their own emotional intelligence. So yes, there's a lot of things there. I know I've talked quite a lot there. So, but there's lots of ideas there for the simple things that you as teachers can do. And I'm sure many of you will already be doing some of these.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Thank you so much. Like, how much value there. And you know what came through for me more than anything, especially at the beginning when you were talking about the brain, is how much knowledge is power. I mean, I've been learning about the brain as part of coaching for quite a while now, but even now I'm learning some more things around the ways I do things and am, and it's so helpful. It is so helpful. And sometimes it's like everything makes sense when you just have an understanding of why things happen or why you do things the way you do them.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, even for me now, I'm in my 40s, I've got 3 girls of my own, and I'm really trying to put this information and pass this on to them, because I just think even if we have some of it, it's so much more useful to understand that our brains can be changed, that we can encourage ourselves to be more positive. And many children will come to school, they'll start school in reception already having been influenced by perhaps some quite negative thoughts and feelings from other people, some negative life experiences. I coach quite a lot of young people from a looked after background, and really just encouraging them to understand that that's the history, but what's the future? What does the future look like? And working towards the future. We are in control of many things in our lives, and we can control the way we respond, the way we react to things. We can do that in a positive way, and that is our choice and our choice only. So I think that can be very empowering for young people to understand that. There's so much. I could talk about this all day.
Well, that's so good, because that is your job.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, Alice, thank you so much. Where can we find out more about you? Where can we connect with you and look at what you're doing?
Yeah, well, I actually have a website which is Clued Up Coaching. So that's www.cluedupcoaching.co.uk. And for that website, we are really sort of focusing on secondary schools, but there's a lot of information there for primary schools as well. I do wellbeing webinars, one-to-one coaching. I work with young people, teenagers, adults. So there are lots of different ways that I can support you if you're interested in building a coaching culture more, if you're interested in taking this into the classroom, or any other ways that I can support wellbeing within schools. So there's lots of ways that I can do that. I've also currently got a website which is just under construction but shouldn't be too long in being ready, and that's www.alicewestburycoaching.co.uk. And you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm on linkedin.com/in/Alice Westbury. Okay.
Yeah, just search for your name really on LinkedIn as well.
Yes,
it's just nice and easy.
Yeah.
Oh, but thank you so much. This has been really, really interesting.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been great to be here and talking, and I hope that some of what I've said can be useful. And, I just wanted to say as well that teachers do such an amazing job. And, I visit a lot of schools now, and the impact from the pandemic has been so tricky. But do you know what? Teachers have helped young people get back on track, and you can see that is happening now. So I just wanted to say well done, and thank you to all the staff that are listening.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much.